Thor is an industry plant. Now, so if you don't know who Thor is a ex. His dad was one of the head developers on World of Warcraft. Like, his dad is literally the guy they made fun of in South Park. And then he worked on World of Warcraft. And now he's kind of like, you've probably seen him where he does like these videos where he's talking in his super fucking deep voice and he's like using Microsoft Paint and he's like making his opinions known to the world. That's who Thor is. But that's about all I know about the dude.
Slumber to make a video on Pirate Software's response to stop killing games. Not even necessarily about the initiative, just his horrible dog shit fucking arguments. So we're gonna go one by one.
Let's discuss the most common requirement of the initiative, which is games have to be left in a functional, playable state. Now, what happens if that game is a online-only live service game? Well, if you want that to stay in a functional, playable state, that means the devs have to release either server binaries or somehow carve off the game to be a single-player experience.
Or you could just build out some implementations of having people host their own private servers, like many games have before. It's not really that complicated of a thing to do.
Now, many of you are requesting, yes, I should get the server binaries so that I can go and make private servers for this. But that doesn't make a lot of sense in the real world. And the reason why is because it leaves developers open to abuse. So let's explore that a little bit. Let's say that you made your own video game, and you made a live service game. Maybe it's an MMO, maybe it's something else, right? And let's say that I want to monetize that game, but you don't allow monetization of the game by any other party. This makes sense because most creators don't allow for that. You can't just take someone else's art and profit off of it.
I mean, too bad, so sad, I don't know. If you're incapable of monetizing your game through above-the-board means and giving people access to your game in a way that doesn't limit them to whenever you decide to cut support, if that's a problem for you to monetize that game, then sucks to suck. Go do something else. I don't know what to tell you. You should be more than capable. If there's a game that people like playing, you should be more than capable of monetizing that game. Many other companies have done this with online games without being predatory, without being fucking cringe about it.
So then I go, well, how am I going to force you to do this? Under this initiative, you would have to release the server binaries or keep the game in a functional, playable state at end of life. So I hit you with a ton of bots. I hit you with a ton of exploits. I attack your community. I destroy your Reddit. I go after your business. I go everywhere that I possibly can to make this cost as much as it possibly can for you.
You can already attack companies with bots right now, and who the fuck's gonna sue you if the company is dead? Plus, that's already illegal. Anyone who cared about following the law, or copyright law, would not be doing it in the first place. The argument of they're gonna monetize these servers...
So here's the thing, dude. I am so I don't really know. I think I'm very for video game preservation, and I think that you should release it just on the fact that, okay, so what if they don't want to, they're like, okay, so here, you can have your own servers. Wouldn't it just be like, why would you need to monetize these own servers? What if the company, after the game's life, they've already made the money that's to be made from this game? What's the harm in releasing it so you can have, like, people can have their own dedicated servers? I don't see the problem in that. It's like, why wouldn't you be able to like have those private hosted servers? It's like, makes no sense to me. This whole thing is just, I don't get why you wouldn't be for video game preservation. Like live service games, like a lot of times when they die, they die. Why are you licking my sweater? But at the same time, I think that there should be some these companies should be like, okay, yeah, we're not gonna hold server support, but if you want to run a dedicated server, here's the open binary. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs on how that works, so I'm not going to be, like, the most educated, like, super genius, just using some, like, awesome fucking mental fortitude to explain how that's possible, but I do think that enough people have proven that it's possible to keep a game's longevity just around, and there's also companies like Zoom and GOG that are willing to keep these games, or keep games running active. So I don't understand what's stopping him, and I just don't know enough about this subject. I clicked on this because I thought of the industry plant thing, and now I'm just kind of confused.
You could already do that with a lot of different games, and you know what? People play on the non-monetized servers, so it wouldn't even make sense. What functionality are you providing by monetizing the servers? There's going to be a lot of private servers around. Who the fuck is going to play on these servers that are aggressively monetized instead of just going to the ones that are free? No one. No one's going to choose to get cucked out of their money. Maybe a very, very small percentage of players.
And let's say that this goes on long enough that your game dies because you can't afford it anymore, and your studio has to shut down. At end of life, you now have to release those server binaries to keep the game in a functional playable state. At which point I take those, I create a private server, and I monetize it.
The unbelievably absurd argument that people are going to run around killing games with bots so they can monetize their own private servers when they could.
Okay, now that I got the last context, this is where I thought it was going, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to speak out of my ass. What pirate software is saying is completely fucking retarded. If your game dies because you couldn't monetize it correctly, and you then release the binary and people start making money off of it, that is so, like, who's gonna play on the fucking money servers anyway? But if you do want to play on a server that costs money, it's like, why does it matter? The studio isn't supporting it anymore, so somebody else had to do the job, so we're paying them for their work. It is not the the studio fucking gave up access. The game is dead. We've talked about they made all the money they can make off of it. It is now a fucking dead game. So what keeps this viable? And what's great about that is, like, let's say it's a game that's been dead for a long time, but it's still in an ongoing series, right? Let's take, for example, Halo 1. Halo 1 has a Master Chief Collection, but let's say Halo 1 would have released on PC, right? It didn't. We're just gonna, we're using big brain stuff. But Halo 1 isn't supported by Microsoft anymore. I know Microsoft will support their shit until, like, the fucking Earth dies. But it's not being supported anymore. There's no more money to be made off of Halo 1. It has had its peak. It's had its downfall. It is now a relic of the past. Other people decide they want to keep playing Halo 1. They want to keep running these servers. So they start making dedicated servers. And they start making good dedicated servers, which have a strong fan base behind it. And the fan base wants to keep, gets to a point where they feel like the server's getting too big and they can't keep it steadily going for a while. So they decide to close off the server. And they have $1 entry into this server. You now know that is the best server to get on. So you go onto it. I don't see any problem with people trying to keep these communities smaller, trying to make a little money on the side. There's nothing. It's like, who's losing out? The big companies losing out a little bit because their game's been dead for fucking years. That's weird. That's a weird fucking, like, you're bending the knee and sucking the corporation's dick while also watching the video and game industry die. There's so many games that I would love to play that have kind of died that are dying in obscurity every day. And then we're making the excuse that we can't, like, you can't just open up the binary. Like, stupid.
Already do that anyways is absolutely ridiculous. Like, who are these people that are going to invest this much money? Also, we already have protections against this type of thing. There's DDoS protections. But, like, if this were to be a problem, this would already be happening right now.
Some people have said, well, simply don't allow monetization of the server. Well, who's going to enforce that? If you want a government initiative to enforce that, that means the government has to build a registry of all of those games and all of that intellectual property that shouldn't be monetized.
Again, if there is, the thing about there being, even if people fucking try to monetize servers or whatever, you still are going to have ones that aren't monetized, and people will then avoid them. It's called the free market, dude. That's how it works. And at the end of the day, the company does not do anything about that game anymore. And if somebody's mad that somebody else is making money on a server, oh well, don't play on that server. Done deal.
But, like, there's already regulations in a ton of different markets that don't require the government to have a big list of everyone who's in that market. You can make this argument for literally all copyright protections. The way that copyright works is if someone wants something taken down, they have to specifically request it, and then a party can take a look at it. You can bring that suit to court. The government doesn't need a big registry of everything that's copyrighted. And even if people do want to monetize these private servers, that's their own business. What if they want to release a giant expansion pack where they overhaul the game and people are really enthusiastic about it, but it costs money? I don't think that should be shut down because of this ridiculous hypothetical scenario where people are going to be destroying the game.
Well, here's what's funny too. Here's something funny. So, I think now with Starfield, there are paid mods. There's paid mods now where people can work on and build something for the game, and then they can sell it, and Bethesda gets a cut, and then the rest goes to the person who developed the mod. A lot of people were really against this when they decided that this was going to be a thing, and I actually was on the side of, why shouldn't they get paid for their work? If they want to charge you for a mod to the game, why shouldn't they be able to? Let's say they spend years developing this, and then they release it, and yeah, it's like $10, right? And it's like a full overhaul of the game. I don't think that's egregious. You were basically, like, they built you a new fucking game. People all the time will use engines build a game, but oh well, because it was a mod and uses certain assets from this, you can't monetize it. That's stupid, dude. Just because mods have in the past always been free doesn't mean that some people don't want to get paid for their work. And like when they completely overhaul a game, that's fair. You don't have to buy that mod. You don't. There's nothing that guarantees you every mod for free. Now, like, yes, that can be upsetting because like the modding community has always been free because you're basically, once you start making a mod, you know you can't make money off of it because it is not your assets. It's not you're basically building off of something else. But the idea that they're opening up avenues for people to make their own money, I don't ever think is a bad thing. So it's just like we're attacking people for trying to maintain and uphold something they care about because you think that the big corporation deserves all the money. This is what I have a problem with copyright. I think our copyright laws are way too stringent. I think that I think that they should cut the copyright. And this is all because Disney wanted to keep fucking Mickey Mouse longer. It's like, what? We used to get some of the best literature because they were building off of each other. And now we're at a point where it's like, oh, well, we can't do anything with a character that's too similar because you can get sued. It's so egregious to the point that it's like, oh, I can't even have like a knockoff Superman because DC might sue me because it's too close to a real Superman. It's dumb. It's really, really dumb. I don't like it. I've never liked copyright law. I think you should have like a 10-year, 20-year period where that is 100% your IP. If it's still ongoing, like that is your IP for then. But like when it comes to like the film rights, okay, you got it for 10 years. You get the film rights, and then nobody else can make it. And then after that, other people can make it. Whether those products are good or bad does not matter to me. Because like that's one of the arguments. Well, we don't want our character to be degradized. Well, if you're out there making the best version of your character for everybody to use, then you will be the person that everybody comes to. But if you're making the worst and somebody's out there outdoing you with your own character, well, looks like they're gonna make the money because they're doing a better job. Sorry. That's how it should work. Like, let's say that like there's a Spider-Man movie, like it's really fucking bad, comes out. It's from the people who own the IP of Spider-Man, but they only own it for 10 years. And then 10 years later, fucking now Fox decides, we're just using Fox. I know that they're owned by Disney now, but we're pretending Fox wasn't bought by who isn't fucking owned by Disney? Paramount. Paramount decides they are going to make a Spider-Man movie, and the Spider-Man movie kicks fucking ass. Well, now Sony and Marvel are like, okay, we need to make a better Spider-Man movie. So they work harder to make a better Spider-Man movie. So you have two Spider-Man movies competing in the market for whose is better. So now you have an audience that you're like, oh, so we're getting these two IPs. They're both working really hard to be better. You get better stuff from competition, and with copyright, you're eliminating the competition.
DDoSing, already illegal, already infeasible, already protections. Downvoting the communities can already be regulated.
I'm sorry. When you said I got her, I was like, oh, okay, I can hand her to you. All right. Yeah, this is my last video, and then I'll meet you in there. So, and it's only got a little bit longer.
You can already ban users spamming communities. Already potential for a lawsuit. Putting bots in the game, very easy to regulate. You can literally ban these users. And the game would have to be somehow structured in a way where bots could completely ruin it. And the developers would have to be completely incompetent on how to stop these bots or have no interest in stopping them, which is a great argument.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, the moment, usually when bots show up, it's like after, like, here's the thing. If the bots are so bad that you can't regulate your own game and it gets everyone to leave your game, that then it's dead for so long that people then are like, remember that game was really cool? I want to create a dedicated server for it and play it again. That's like way past the point of the company actually making any more potential money from it. It's like there's people right now that are like, wow, dude, I really wish I could play Concord, but it's shut down. It's like, why couldn't you have just released it and then had dedicated servers where the Concord people could stop fucking complaining about Marvel Rivals and just play Concord against each other? Have dedicated Concord servers that people could play with. It doesn't make sense to me. It never has really made sense to me. But this is also a problem when you have games that never have a campaign and they're only multiplayer based. They're destined to eventually die in obscurity. And it's why I think that a lot of these games that, like, let's say Halo, right? Again, I'm going back to Halo, but like, let's say Halo decided, okay, well, we're shutting down all of Halo 1 so that, hey, because Halo 2's out. That would be fucking annoying, dude. Why wouldn't you just bundle them together to be like, okay, now you can download both. You can do all of this shit now together. Or you can just play Halo 1 by itself. It's like, I don't get why you would be here saying that, oh, video game preservation is bad because that people could like destroy or hurt these hardworking developers. It's like, dude, these are giant companies that then mismanage their game, leaving it to where the only people to actually care enough is the community. Like, if they're the only people that care, and they're already the people that are bought in, what's the harm in letting them keep their game alive?
For having private servers, by the way, if the developer doesn't care about stopping it. And once again, this is something that could already be done. It's already legal to try to destroy someone's game and hurt their business. You can already bring a lawsuit for this. So one, either these are people that don't care about following the law, in which case they would host private servers anyways. Two, these are people who do care about the law, in which case they wouldn't be trying to destroy the game even if private servers were legal. Banning private servers does not solve the problem. Banning monetization of private servers does not solve the problem. Legalizing private servers does not create the problem. All this serves to do is hurt game preservation and carry weight for people who want to screw over consumers.
On top of that, if you want to go the other route and say the company has to go and control it, well, what if the company's not around anymore? Is that just able to be monetized now?
Let's get this out of the way right now. People have reverse engineered and hosted private servers for games that do not allow that to exist. And they have even been sued by companies that don't host those games anymore. Games have also allowed people to host private servers without releasing the server binary. So the idea that this is the only way is ridiculous. It's just a lot more of a convenient way and a lot more game preservation friendly way. I'm also not for stopping the monetization of private servers, but even if you were for that, this argument doesn't make any sense. Situation A, private servers are legal, but monetization is illegal. Company dies. They can't sue, right? Okay. Situation B, private servers are legal entirely, but monetization is not. Company goes under. Who are they going to sue? Same situation applies in both scenarios. Whether it is legal to host private servers or not, if a company goes under, they can't sue you for either hosting private servers or monetizing them. The legality of private servers does not make a difference here.
Again, this was obtained through abuse of the original creator. I don't think that's a good route. And this scenario gets even worse if you do allow monetization. Because now I can just kill off your company and then monetize the server and no one will ever come after me.
Which the same exact logic would apply if you killed the company. No one would come after you even if it was illegal because you've killed off the company. Once again, the factor of private servers or monetization being legal or illegal doesn't make a difference to people who are not following the law and in the case that the company goes under.
So in the most extreme, people said live service games shouldn't exist at all and the initiative will kill them off for good and that's a good thing. Well, you don't get to define what players get to play or not play.
That's a great argument, Thor. People should not be in charge of deciding what games you can play and not play.
That's fucking retarded. You should, like, this is where I think that these, like, it's like super anti-consumer to just be like, oh, we're just gonna let it die off because we decided to. We're like, oh, well, the company's out of business now, so they can't host it. What's stopping people from like fixing it and making it good again? It's like I hate all these people are super like, even like there are studios out there that actually care. Like Running with Scissors, they hate Postal 3, but they weren't against Zoom platform like fixing the game up and then selling it, because they were like, listen, people want to play it. We don't like it, but people want to play it. Who fucking cares? That should be the opinion of all of these companies. It's like, oh, the game was a flop for us. We didn't make a ton of money on it. It was a failure. We'll just shove it into the background, but you guys can do whatever the fuck you want with it. If you want to just mess with it, whatever. You can. It exists out there. Go enjoy it. We're washing our hands with it. Here's the thing. You can make servers. You can do whatever. You can fucking build off of it. Here's the code, whatever. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. That's how it should be. It's something that we have, like, you've purchased. You're here. What's the problem? I don't see the problem here other than he's like, well, you're taking from these developers. The game's done. This is like where we're at the point where it's like, oh, well, you maliciously killed their game with bots and shit. What is every fucking gamer now just a giant psyop to burn studios down? That's fucking, like, what kind of, like, you're getting as conspiratorial as the people that you're trying to shit on is my problem.
In the same exact way that if I want to play a multiplayer game that's been shut down, even if it has dead servers, I should be allowed to do that, which completely invalidates your previous argument about it not preserving the experience and saying that we should just throw it away in that case. But the people who are saying this are probably engaging in hyperbole because they're tired of unfinished, unpolished, aggressively monetized trash being thrown out and then dying a year later. And yeah, the games industry would objectively probably be in a better place if there were no live service games, if this model never took off. But obviously, I'm not in favor of banning those games, and I don't think most people are either. And we've already established that this initiative wouldn't kill those games.
I like live service games. I enjoy playing things like Final Fantasy XIV. I enjoy going and playing in games, in the past at least, like League of Legends.
I absolutely love that he brought up League of Legends, because League of Legends is the perfect example of a game that I would fucking kill to play an older patch of that game before they ruined it with the bloat of a million fucking champions that do nothing to enhance the experience. The amount of people that would play on private servers of that game of old patches would be insane. Someone was actually working on a project for you to do that, and Riot shut it down. The fact that Riot is scared of competing with older versions of their game because they know their game has been made shittier over time is the exact reason that initiatives like this need to exist. The fact that the game is a fundamentally different game than when it was played in the past and you have no option to go back because of draconian copyright laws is fucking ridiculous.
The next one is that this is about games preservation, and that it needs to happen to preserve these types of games for future generations and for everyone
Well,
to
here's the thing. You might hate this, right? Here's something. Okay, you hate the idea of, like, you do not like the way the game is in now. Now, I'm going to use an example here. And a lot of people hated this, but Fallout First. Now, I never had Fallout First. Just something I never had. Plain and simple, I just played Fallout 76 in the thing, but Fallout First, I always thought it was an interesting concept. To have your private servers to where you could go play the game the way you wanted without dealing with bullshit. You could have your friends in it. There's your private server. This is your private server. You pay $1 a month. I think it was like $1 a month, or at the time, or whatever it is now. I don't know what it is. If a company wants to do that, sure. Like, now they have it. Like, here's you give us a certain amount of money a month, and we will host your private server. And you can do whatever build you want on this. You can download. We have all the different builds right here. You can pick what build. You can pick what time period. There you go. If it's a game that's still running, like it's super popular in the case, because I didn't know they were talking about cases like Final Fantasy 14 or League of Legends. It's like, okay, now you can go back and play, and this is your server. Now you can build these things, and then people can pay in. You can play on these servers, and Riot still takes a portion of the money. Problem solved. I don't understand why this is this big of a deal. It will keep the game going for longer. If we want to do it that route. If we're going the route of where the company still makes money, boom, problem solved. There will be a little bit of outcry. Can you believe that they're charging people to have private servers? And and it's like, yeah, so what? Now they're making money. Who cares? You get to play the version of League of Legends you wanted to play. Boom. There's problem solved. Then you're not hurting the poor developers. It's like, but what I had initially thought was the game had died. This is why I made the arguments earlier, is because I thought the game had died. Now it's sitting in fucking limbo, and then some people come and take it up, but then they're sued by the original company because they decided to take it up. That's fucking wrong. Like, if you can't maintain your game, but somebody else comes out of their way to maintain it, that is like, oh, well, we're gonna fucking hit you with the DMCA to take that shit down because you're fucking impeding on copyright. It's like, you don't care about the fucking copyright, you just hold it. This is why I'm so mad. Like here's the thing. I really enjoyed the Judge Dredd game back in the day, right? Loved it. I think it's a really fun game. Is it perfect? No. But is it a fun game? Absolutely. We are now 20 years past when that game came out. 20 years, and we have not seen another Judge Dredd game. And it's because of these draconian-ass copyright laws that we currently have. And Rebellion isn't... It's obviously obvious Rebellion's not making a Judge Dredd game right now, right? Rebellion, like, if I were to go right here and look up the fact that Judge Dredd game... Is there a new one? We'll go to news. No news. Fucking no news. Absolutely none. So no one is making a Judge Dredd game. You can find the original... I misspelled Judge. But look. You got the old one. But there is not... It is not... They're not making another one. Yeah, I'll look up new Judge Dredd game. And we'll go to news. Nothing. Fucking nothing. The people who developed the original Judge Dredd game, Rebellion, are not making a Judge Dredd game. But some studio decides that they're like an indie studio. And they're like, we want to make a Judge Dredd game. We're going to charge for it. I have no problem with it because it's been 20 fucking years since anybody utilized the Judge Dredd IP. But because it's like fucking 1,000 years in limbo because of how the copyright system works in this country, it's sitting in limbo forever. So we're not going to get any more Judge Dredd content. They still, I guess, make comic books, I guess, but it's just like, now it's going to die. It's going to go the way of the dodo bird because they're too busy making it a Sniper Elite fucking 47. But indie studios out here, they can't do anything with it. So this is where I get really irritated with this shit. Like, yeah, if you have currently have movies or games going of this IP, yes. But if there hasn't been one made since the creation of the character, I think you have 10 years to make them, to get a studio to get the rights to make a movie, and then they have 10 years with that IP for sure. For sure. If they haven't made it in 10 years, then I think it can go into the free realm where people have the opportunity to make that same thing. Or if you want to develop a movie based on an exact copy of a comic book from 10 years ago, beat for beat, you have the right to do that. Or make a game that covers this arc of a comic book, and they haven't made a game that covers that arc of the comic book. I think that's fair. I think we would see more stuff. Yes, there would be a lot more out there. There would probably be a lot of slop. But there's enough resources to us as people in this day and age. I can look up, like, if it's a movie, I can look up, like, tap, Jeremy Johns. Oh, it's dog shit. Cool, won't watch it. Oh, tap. Fucking look up G-Man Lives, Judge Dredd, new one. Oh, it's dog shit. Won't get it. There's a million fucking opportunities. You can also look up King Jiffy. What did he have to say about this game? It's fucking blows cocks and dicks and does not slap clip. Boom, won't get the game. There's a million avenues for you to go down to find out if this shit's good or not, and I hate the way the copyright system's set up where there's no competition.
Always have forever. But I would argue that this isn't actually preserving these games. Social games, such as, let's say, Apex Legends, require a number of players to be in the match at the same time so that you can have an experience that is only able to be obtained through lots of players.
I didn't realize till right now that I was covering up his fucking head the whole time. Sorry. This is what pirate software looks like.
Interactive, right? It's a multiplayer game. You need a bunch of people. How many of you have felt negatively when an MMO dies? or when a live service game dies. Oh, dead game.
You know, that's a great point, Thor. I feel pretty bad when an MMO or live service game dies. But you know what I feel worse about? When the game is literally incapable of being played anymore. I think that makes me feel a little worse than the game having a low player count.
There's only 5
So here's the thing I think should be done with MMO that is about to die. I think that they should just drop the live service thing. They should just release it as a campaign, a single player campaign, like scrap anything that needs too much, pull the restrictions, start them at a higher level, let people play it, and sell it as a single player campaign for everybody that wants to experience that world. Boom, problem solved. You got yourself a mini campaign, people can still go and at least experience the world. I mean, the fact that we're living in this world where it's like, oh, shit just dies and then it's forgot about is awful. I mean, I don't care how bad a game is, I think that it should be able to be played. And should be able to be either purchased or just downloaded.
people online. Why would I play that? So why would you want to preserve a game in that state? That doesn't make any sense to me. Well, you don't get to define what players get to play or not play. You also shouldn't be able to get to define what developers build or don't build. You should not have creative control over the developers, and you should not have control over what is in my Steam library or on my phone.
I mean, that says it all. He literally contradicted himself 30 seconds earlier. You don't get to decide what type of game experience I like. If I want to play a dead game with low player count, then let me play a dead game with a low player count. Let me play on a private server. You don't get to decide what games I like to play or don't play. You don't get to decide what's in my Steam library and what's not in my Steam library. I mean, that shows a lot about the consistency of this motherfucker's arguments, carrying weight and bootlicking for developers. Which I guess isn't even fair, because really he's just protecting his own interests as a developer. But even on a surface level, the idea that having a game that is completely unplayable, that doesn't exist anymore, is somehow a better outcome than playing a game with a low player count is the dumbest argumentation I've ever heard in my life. It is clearly a biased argument meant to make this initiative look bad.
You're not bringing it back at its height. You're not taking a snapshot of what the game actually is. You're making it limp on in a way that doesn't make any sense. Well, you don't get to define what players get to play or not play. You should not have control over what is in my Steam library or on my phone. That's not preservation. And for those that may stop there and go, but private servers going to have a lot of players. Look at all the ones for World of Warcraft. Again, we talked about that. It opens up a route for abuse to the developers.
Even if we completely ignore the absurdity of the argument that somehow they're going to be botted out of existence and...
Oh my god, dude. So a company does it. There's a perfect example out there, and because he's like, well, it's abuse to the developers. Okay, it's our fucking product. Like, you put the product in the consumer's hands. Now it's the consumer to do whatever the fuck they want to. I saw this thing recently, and I can't even remember the studio that did it. But I saw Running with Scissors done. If you go follow my Twitter, I sometimes say funny shit. Not really. I'm kind of cringe. But I talked about how there was this developer who basically came out that they weren't going to put their game on PC. And it was a whole marketing ploy because they were literally paid by PlayStation to have their game exclusive on their platform. But they said they weren't bringing their game to PC. And they virtue signaled about how they don't want their female main character sexualized and shit like that. It's like, fuck you, dude. Once that game is mine, I should be able to fuck with it all I want. And this is the problem I have with consoles and shit, is because I used to be the console guy. And then I remember when Fallout opened up mods. Fallout 4 had mods on consoles, and the first thought I had wasn't that, oh yeah, this is cool. Why the fuck isn't every game doing this? Why doesn't every game have modding? Why doesn't every game have the ability to let me just go into a little menu, click, and then utilize different fuck arounds in the game? That was freedom to me. That was like mind blowing that there was a company out there, and I know Bethesda has their own problems with like bad monetization and shit. But the fact that they even on console said, look at this, you can play the game the way you want. Freedom. That's like, to me, it's like, oh wow, I can do the game however I want to play it. That's cool. Why doesn't every fucking game do this? Why doesn't every game have mod tools in, like, why don't they release mod tools? And it's like, well, we built it on Unreal or blah, blah, blah. It's like, fuck, who cares, dude? This is, like, it's so cool. Once you open up your shit to modding communities, that's fucking awesome. Like, I want to see more people mod the fuck out of Postal Brain Damage, because they're at least that Hyperstrange at least released that game with the fucking mod kit. There's a mod kit where you can do you can build shit in Postal Brain Damage, and then you can fucking play the game you want to play however you want to play. That's cool. It's awesome. I love that shit. Postal 2 has stayed relevant for so long because they let their fans do whatever the fuck they want with the game. It's like, okay, you bought our game, have fun with it. Do whatever you want with it. It's yours now. We'll update what we want to update on our side, but you can do whatever you want on your side. That's freedom. That's letting you do what the shit. It's like when I buy a fucking drill from Walmart, I don't have DeWalt showing up to my house being like, oh, why are you adding a bigger battery into that drill than the one it came with? That's no. You can only use that battery with that drill. The one you can't buy the bigger battery. No. That looks like a third-party battery. Like I don't. It might be a bad thing, but I think you can buy like third-party versions of the drill batteries. I'm not sure. I don't fucking know how drills work. I bought a Ryobi a long time ago, and I just I'm fucking only buying Ryobis because the batteries fit. That's a bad. But like you can't use this drill for this cause. Oh, you're using the back of a drill as a hammer to beat in the nail. Well, you can't do that because now we're going to sue you for wrongfully using the drill. That's fucking stupid. It's my drill. If I want to use the back of it to hammer in a nail to hang a picture because I can't find my hammer, I will do that. That's a better fucking example.
And people are going to use that as an opportunity to host monetized private servers, which has not been established whatsoever and has been clearly debunked. That still would not be an argument for low player counts. You bring up the example of World of Warcraft private servers. The counter argument to your argument that private servers would be dead is World of Warcraft, because those servers are not dead. You do not debunk this argument. You say, well, it's going to hurt developers. That does not address the point of the servers being dead. That is a complete non sequitur argument for a completely different topic, which has been clearly debunked. Also, Blizzard seems to be completely fine. They seem to be making money off of World of Warcraft, and a lot of the players who are playing World of Warcraft are complaining about the fact that recent updates have ruined the game. So those people actually have an option to play on a private server. That is perfect. The game is still healthy, the game is still existent, the game is still making money, but people who do not want to play the newest content play on private servers. That is the perfect system. World of Warcraft is the perfect defeater of your argument. The game isn't being botted out of existence. I know it has a bot problem, but people still play retail WoW. The game is still existent. There's still plenty of retail WoW players, but the private servers still have a high player count. And those private servers are arguably responsible for something that people really liked, which is classic WoW. It is insane how you brought up the perfect counterargument in every single aspect to what you're arguing for. And with that, I think I'm done. It's complete bias. He has no real arguments. He contradicts himself 60 seconds in between saying one thing and saying the other. He brought up the perfect counterexample to all of his arguments, which is classic WoW. I love that he brought up the League of Legends example, and this whole video is a complete failure and a complete demonstration of why we need this initiative. If this is the best counterarguments that these people have, then send it through right now.
So it's just a song for the rest of it. I kind of agree with the guy who made this video. I actually really agree with him, because it's like, why are we letting? Because like, here's a great example as well of just a game that's died. I don't now I can't even remember the game. I'm gonna look up I misspelled the fuck out of this. I misspelled monolith. Well, I forgot the N. Let's go to their Wikipedia. There is a game that they made that I want to play. No One Lives Forever. No One Lives Forever. You cannot buy No One Lives Forever anywhere. Anywhere. You can't get it anywhere. It is a delisted game. It is dying in obscurity. Now, this is a game that a lot of people have told me to play. This is a game that I want to play. But it is a game that you cannot play anymore because it is delisted. Now, there is sites like My Abandonware, and there's probably some other ones that you can get, or like a physical copy, maybe. But you're sitting in this world that it's like, oh, so this game doesn't, they don't care about it. And this is something I get really mad about PlayStation at all the time. I am going, I just dropped my service, whatever, on PlayStation I'm dropping it to basic because I'm just fucking sick of the fact that they refuse to remaster any of their PS3 games, and they just keep releasing them through the streaming. The thing that I liked about Game Pass, right? The thing that I think that Game Pass does so well is you have the option to stream anything, or you can download anything. You don't have to do anything, either of them. And if there's a game that you want to play, like let's say you have a game that you really want to play from their service, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to get Game Pass though. You can buy every game on Game Pass. You do not have to have the service to play these games. But now they're locking these in as like a bonus. Oh, well, if you get our service, then you can stream at a fucking low quality in your living room. Like when I'm streaming games on Game Pass, I'm playing on my fucking phone. I am not playing them on my console because I want to play them at a higher resolution. I don't want to rely on my internet. But when I'm playing on my phone, I don't care. I'm watching TV anyway, so I'm playing that shit on easy and I am not giving a fuck. But when I have a game that I want to play, such as like the Resistance 1 and 2, or Killzone 1 and 2 and 3. I want to play those games, but I can't unless I stream them off of their fucking shitty, because like Microsoft's streaming service isn't the best, but it's okay. And if you're wanting to play, oh well, you just said PlayStation. PlayStation uses Microsoft streaming service. They are Microsoft's fucking consumer. They are literally a Microsoft consumer in the fact that they are utilizing their streaming technology to stream games. So they are paying Microsoft to be able to stream their own games instead of just remastering their own games and then letting people download them. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And it's such a black eye in the thing of video game preservation. I think that every studio should like at least try to keep their games listed the best they can. And like adding, like the thing that I love about Microsoft going day and date in PC and PlayStation starting to do it now is you will see more people preserve those games than the studios them fucking selves. Because it's funny that I can go down, download a fucking PS3 editor or emulator that upreses my games because PlayStation fucking won't. And this is what happens with this whole copyright thing. It's like, oh, well, we totally care about this IP we haven't used in 10 years. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't. If you did, you would have put content out about it. I hate the argument against video game preservation. Well, though they're just going to pirate it if it's on a PC. Ah, fuck you. That's why they're putting their games on PC now. It's all these arguments from the past and shit. Like, it was the same thing with the people who were, like, against console games coming to PC. It's like, oh, well, they'll pirate all of them. Or, no, it's just because you want to gatekeep your fucking games, dude. It's like, oh, you just want to suck off a corporation when it should be in the free market to decide. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. I might have just rambled like a fucking idiot, but I don't care. It's my channel. Like it, don't like it, dislike